Hello ladies and gents, Romie Reviews here. Please like, comment, subscribe. Happy Thanksgiving. I want to get that, put that out there first. Now let's get into the season finale of Greenleaf. Before the festivities began, I figured I have a momentary lapse. Let me go and get this video out. The new life. Now, Basie, of course, he has his gun right up, ready to go, cocked at Bishop, and Bishop is trying to talk him off the ledge, talk him down. The issue is that Basie is so hurt, so pissed, because, again, his father died due to the fire that Mac and Bishop started in order to get the money for their church, the insurance money for their older church, or their first church that they opened up together. And Basie concocted this whole plan with Rochelle in order to get back at Bishop and the entire Greenleaf family. So that meant Jacob had to go and get caught up. Charity was the only one that wasn't really caught up because she was dealing with her own stuff. But now it gets to the point where Basie has to decide, is he going to shoot Bishop or not? The assistant comes in and she's just like, because now Basie has the gun at her. And Bishop is just like, leave. Just leave right now. Don't pay attention to what's in front of you. Just leave right now. Do not call the cops. Just leave. I'm handling this. If you go right now, you will be okay. And she ran out. She wasn't shot. But Lady May and Mavis, they're just gallivanting. They love the fact that their plan worked. The church is ablaze. You can tell there's a lot of chatter. There's new life in the church. And then they get told, Basie has Bishop up at gunpoint. And so now Bishop is saying, look, Basie, I understand you came here to do something, but let's be very clear. Until this very moment, you didn't realize that you weren't a killer. I said, wait a minute. How are you telling me what I'm not? So then Basie, he thinks about it. And he points the gun away from Bishop and then points it right back. And he was just like, this Bishop was like, if you leave now, you can just go. I'll not call the cops. I'll pretend like this never happened. And that's when Basie said, you know what, Bishop, you have a nice day. And I said, but nothing happened. Nothing happened. That's when Lady May came. She ran in. Bishop was just, he could barely breathe. And Lady May was just, she was there for her man. She was there for her man. Charity was there. Charity calls Jacob and tells Jacob everything. And Jacob's freaking out like, wait, what's going on? And Jacob still has to deal with the fact that at home, Carissa she mentioned a divorce. But now Zora's back. Now that the church they're having issues with the church, which has happened to Bishop. Carissa said, here's how this works. I'm not 100% sure of what I want right now. At this very moment, I'm not just going to go up and leave you. That's not what we're doing right now. But then Jacob gets a separate call. And it's actually from their accountant at Triumph. So now there's other issues. The doctor came, checked out Bishop, and Bishop was okay. Bishop was okay, but I think he's finally seen the light. And when I say seen the light, I mean that Bishop realizes... He apologizes to Lady May. He said, what you're doing here is amazing. The church has new life. And I have to acknowledge that you were right. I have to acknowledge that my time is up here. I'm thinking, why is he talking as if he's not going to live much longer? I caught it right then and there. I realized Bishop thinks that he's going to die soon. So he's trying to right all of his wrongs before he dies. So he goes and tells Lady May, I'm giving you the church. I'm not going to stand in your way. And she went from, oh my God, you okay, to, that's all I ever wanted. Thank you. I said, wow, Lady May, you moved on fast. So now Lady May tells Mavis the great news. And Mavis is just happy. She's just saying, I love you. This is what happens when you stand in your truth. I said, she's not fully standing in her truth yet. But we'll see what happens. Because I saw Grace in the background. I don't know if you guys watch that episode again. There was a woman who was standing up against the wall. And it looked like from a distance it could be Grace. But they never panned in. What matters most is we do see Grace. And she's talking to Silver Fox. Silver Fox, a.k.a. Clara. Clara is there, and she's with, what's this man's name? Why do I call her Clara? Her name is Connie. So Connie has this guy here, and Connie's just going over the facts. Sexual abuse, gunfire, embezzlement, fraud, jail, imprisonment, all these things. And Grace said, yes, I know my family's very messed up. Connie said, yes, that's why I'm talking to you about you taking over the church. Now, she's already talked to the deacon board, and she wants to go and essentially sell the church to, what was it, Harmony and Hope, which is essentially a church franchise. It's a company that franchises churches, and Calvary would be under that franchise as a subsidiary instead of being wholly owned. It's just crazy to me, because Grace said, why wouldn't you talk to my mom about this? Because your mother's too close to your father's mess. Regardless of what she played a part in, the fact that people will see her as, you know, the first lady, co-signing whatever your father did or the actions, it's more than enough to constitute her not being a viable candidate. I said, oh. And essentially this guy is saying your church needs change, wants a different direction. Grace says she needs to pray on it. She needs to pray on it for multiple reasons. You have to think about it. It's either she takes it or they get someone else to go and take over Calvary. So she has very limited options, and she's going to upset someone. Someone, frankly, being her mother. So now she's talking to Lady May, and Lady May's over because Grace is telling her, hey, Connie had me meet up with a rep from Harmony and Hope, and they want me to take over as pastor, and they want Calvary to be transitioned into a subsidiary of Harmony and Hope, be one of their churches. And Lady May was pissed. She was huffing. She was puffing. She was doing her usual, oh, so you're just going to go. And I said, Lady May, let's not do that today. I mean, Lady May was going off. How dare you go and sell off the church after it was resurrected from the ashes, and how, Grace, you always betray me, and how you blame me for everything, mama this, mama that. While Grace is looking at her thinking, I always betray you. The ultimate betrayal was you going and ragging on me for decades for me to find out that you were lying and scheming the whole time. And so then Lady May said, I'm done. I don't want to hear anything else from you. And that's when Grace said, you know what? I was trying to be cute with it, but I took a blood test with Aaron. And yes, Lionel is her father. When I tell you, Grace, and Grace said, I'm going to tell Daddy unless you do it first. Lady May said, okay, give me some time. I'll go and speak to him. Whew. But Lady May did not take that well. She was still trying to blame Grace, and I'm over her. I'm over her, and I'm over it. Jacob goes and meets up with his father, wants to check up on his dad, see how everything's going. Now, Jacob tells, Bishop that his days are over at Triumph. The accountant called because the accountant was actually, in agreement with the church that these higher-ups, Carissa and Jacob, they're not a good fit. They went and allowed the church to go and get smutted out, and someone new needs to take over. Which means that now the housing that they even had won't be there anymore. Think about this. So now Jacob's coming back because he needs a place to go. And he's a decent preacher now. Even Bishop says that he watches his sermons early in the morning and even takes a couple of key points here and there. And that means that Jacob is going to come back home. He's going to come back home into the house, and he's going to have a job in Calvary. A space is opening up, especially since Bishop won't be there. But Bishop wants to take Jacob. It's like, okay, since now you're back fully into the family business, come into this meeting. Lady May's there, Connie's there, the rest of the board is there, and Lady May, she feels a certain type of way because she acknowledges that from this day forward, I'm the one who's going to be running the church. Connie says, well, from this day forward, our church is going to be run by Harmony and Hope. Lady May said, so this was your plan, to go and try. We went and did everything we could even, you know, coming back from obscurity to get to where we are now. And you decide for yourself that to conspire against us like a Judas in a pantsuit. What? Who writes this? Who writes this show? I can't. But Connie says, your family has gone and done too much. I mean, all the foolishness that you've been caught up with, and you really think the church wants to go and follow you? Well, you're doing this behind the church's back. Actually, Bishop, actually, Lady May, and they go and show her this doctrine. It has 2,000 signatures. 2,000 signatures. So, probably an overwhelming percentage of their congregation, especially the ones that are faithful to the church, said, we want you out. They want you out, and they're willing to take Grace in, but that's the only Greenleaf that could possibly go and be in charge of this church. Period. Period. Lady May had nothing else to say. She had nothing else to say, because what is she going to say? She was shocked. And this is where Bishop, because Bishop has a way with words and delivery. He's one of those people where even if you're like, okay, come on now, you still question, maybe he has a point. Bishop takes over and says, because Connie said, for 40 years, or over 40 years, I've been dealing with all this mess, including the congregation, and they want something different. They want something better. Bishop talked about how Harmony and Hope, they're definitely different. They're not better. What you will get, and by the way, Connie looked great. What you will get is some liars and some schemers that'll take all the funds out of Calvary and leave you with nothing. Well, actually, Connie, they'll leave you with something since you're the one doing the deal, right? I'm sure your pockets will be laced with something. And some of the board members side-eyed her, and Connie just tried to play it off, but I'm thinking Connie was definitely talking as if she's going to get hers. Like it's her time. Now, Bishop is packing up because his time at Calvary is done, period. But Lady May comes by because, remember, Grace said that she would go and tell her daddy the truth if Lady May doesn't do it first. And so Lady May comes in and she decides to go and tell Bishop, invite Bishop to the house, first of all. Secondly, for dinner? He was shocked. That face he made, like, oh, okay. Now, Carissa is talking to Jacob, and Carissa, again, Jacob's trying to figure out where does he stand with his wife and the relationship. Jacob apologizes once again, but Carissa says she doesn't know. She knows that right now, Zora's home, and they're going through a transitional time. They're not having this housing anymore, so, like, financially, it wouldn't make sense. It would break the family, so for everyone else, she's going to stay there. Until she continued to talk, and then I realized, oh, Carissa, I always knew you were partially an opportunist. Absolutely. See, this is the two-headed thing. Because Clarissa changes the narrative by talking about, well, see, here's how this goes. If Grace becomes interim pastor, that means temporary. So within a year's time, if you go in there and you show her up, essentially, or show why you should be the person instead of her, that could mean you would get the job. That could mean that we could be, you know, she could be first lady and he could be bishop. And I'm thinking, oh my God. Jacob at first had that look of, what the, is she planning my life out, doing some type of con thing? And they said, then this is why I love you. And they did it. They did it right there on that table and she was happy. I'm thinking, so you're telling me, Carissa, all I heard was, we're broke, but Jacob potentially has some money coming into him sooner rather than later at some point if he plays his cards right. Now, I respect the fact that...
Remember to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe and come back.
She always supports him and wants the best and really does carve out ways how his life and his career could be better and improved. I love that. I love that. She's very supportive on that faction. The other side is, I said, I don't care. This comes off as opportunistic. But after the mess that you partially put up with, I'm not mad. And I think that's the only reason why I'm not mad. If there wasn't any cheating, then I would be side-eyeing you. If there wasn't any cheating, I'd be side-eyeing you. But get yours. Get yours. Because, hey, either things will work out, or if they don't, you'll at least be able to show for something financially. Now, Lady May and Bishop. Lady May just has this look of she looks like she wants to die. That's what she looks like. She looks like she wants to die. And Bishop has this look of concern, like, are you okay? Lady May goes and lets it be known that Grace is Lionel's daughter. And I was just waiting for him to lose it in some fashion. You know what he does? Bishop instead goes and says, you know what? So now we're even. I said, wait a minute. Where's the fireworks? Where's the crying? Why is she It's because I'm convinced that Bishop always thought that. Because she looked nothing like her siblings. Nothing like her siblings. And we know that happens. But when it's understandable if the child doesn't look like the father. But if the child doesn't look like the siblings, then something else is going on. Something else is going on. And I couldn't see any of Grace. I said, that's definitely her mother. Looks just like the mother, but looks nothing like the father at all. Something's up. We all felt it. We all always felt like Grace wasn't Bishop's daughter. We all always felt that. And we were right. We were right. And that's why I'm thinking Bishop probably knew. But again, Grace is the apple of his eye. Bishop loves Grace. And I don't care. He loves all of his children, but he loves Grace for a different way. He connects with his daughter differently than he connects with his other daughter and his son. And so that's why I feel like Bishop was never going to just deny Grace and make her feel a certain way. I wasn't sure what he was going to do with Lady May, but that's why I felt like something wasn't right here. And because I know what happened towards the end of the episode, this is the real... Okay. Make sure you saw the episode previously. The reason why Bishop did not freak out was because he wanted to write amends while he was still alive. Because Bishop, this entire episode is acting like he wasn't going to live for too much longer. So I believe that he's been moving the way that he's moved because he felt like, look, if I'm going to die, then I need to make sure that everyone else around me is okay, that they're solid, that they're good. And that's why I believe Bishop didn't overreact, because the next thing he said was, because Lady May said, move back in. And then Bishop said, oh, okay, yeah. Lady May said, move back in. But aside from moving back in, Bishop told her, you need to make amends with your daughter. He's always hated the relationship that they've had. And if we're going to go and start over, you have to start over with everyone. Make amends with Grace. And she agreed. She agreed. Still kind of reluctantly, but she agreed. Now, Basie Skanks is calling Tasha, trying to woo Tasha, but Tasha's over it. She's over her husband. She's over him. She's telling him that she's in witness protection. And now that she's in witness protection, she doesn't want to be with him. She wants to start over. It's like, okay, you love me, cool. But why do you love me? He was like, I love you because I love you. But what do you really love about me? Because I think Tasha realized he loved her because it was a matter of convenience. She looked good. Like I said, she's attractive. And she was probably a lot of fun. And he could mold her. But now she's grown. She's matured. She's seen this is what it looks like when a man does this or cares about this or the focus is on that. So she's over him. And she's going to go do her own thing. But he kind of talked as if, oh, it's not over. Until he's buying alcohol, which we know he should not be doing. We see this really big guy behind him. Old dude definitely looks like he's one of those rough him up, beat him up types. And Basie realized, this dude right here this cat right here doesn't look familiar. Doesn't look right. Because Basie, he needed some change, and the guy gave the change. And I said, uh-oh, Basie. That's either one of the guys that beat you up already, or he's a hitman ready to get you. Because instead of you going and doing what Rochelle said about the money, you wanted to go to Mexico. And so then Rochelle was waiting outside. He hopped in the car and said, drive. She was like, wait a minute, where's my what? She said, drive, go, now. Oh, and then the car followed them. So we don't know what happened there. Now, Aaron, he comes to the church to see Grace, and Aaron lets it be known to Grace that, hey, Lionel did very well for himself. And I'm sure part of that money was probably his life insurance. But Lionel had $3 million when he died. And he wanted to give it all to Grace. All of his money. $3 million. Cash. Cash. You know what he left Aaron? Nothing. He left his gay son nothing. Even in death, all of the love that he had for his son goes to a daughter that he barely knew. Barely knew, barely saw, probably barely interacted with. It's a, wow. So then Grace said, no, it's your money. Aaron said, no. If he's rejecting me, even after death, then I don't want anything from him. I said, oh, okay. So then Grace said, look, you are family, so we're going to figure this thing out. But I need to go and handle something quickly. So now Grace is taking the meeting with two higher-ups over at Harmony and Hope. At one point, the other guy, he went and kind of stopped Grace and was like, hold on. I said, excuse me, is that how it's going to be if Grace works with you? She can't talk and have an opinion? Because he was saying how, look, your church is going through a transitional page. It's either you or someone else, and you have the gift of discernment. You are a preacher. You're also, I think he called her a prophet, because that's what she was seen as when she was younger. And I think it almost sounds like he wants to send her down the evangelistic type of path. I don't know why. That's why I kind of feel he wants to really have her the face of a mega church. He wants to, especially now more than ever, it's the time of the woman. And he knows, I'm sure he knows that. So it's like, okay, this woman who has garnered a lot of attention, bringing other people into the church that maybe we weren't able to do. And he's interested. But Grace feels a certain way, because Grace just feels like, what type of people are going to come in and try to do whatever they want to do with our church? Like, what's really going on here? Grace goes and meets up with Bishop. This is his last sermon. And Bishop tells her that once Connie's crew is out, once they go get whatever money they want and their power is stripped, then, you can go and be free. And Bishop was like, oh, no, we can be free. No. Bishop said, no, my place is no longer here in the church. And so then Grace said she came into some money, and it's a lot of money. It could pay off his tax debt. Of course, Bishop said, wait a minute, where's this money coming from? Don't worry about where it's coming from. Do you really need to know? And then Bishop realized, because he's smart, oh, the only way she could come into money is if someone left it to her, and the only person that will leave it to her is, So then, without her having to say anything, because she was about to cry, and Bishop said, listen to me. You are my daughter, and I love you, and that's that. That's that. You are a Greenleaf. No one can tell me anything else. And I said, oh no. Oh no. I was like, calm down. Calm down. Don't do it. Because, like I said, Grace is the apple of his eye. He loves his baby. But now it's time for him to preach. And he's going. And he's essentially talking about, hey, this is my final sermon. And there was like, oh. And I said, look at Sophia. Look at Sophia. She's back in the church. Well, I mean, everyone knows how important this is. And she's sitting next to Zora. I said, the family is united. This is what I wanted. Bishop keeps talking about time for change, time for growth, time for people to fly the coop. And once he's done with his sermon, because he acknowledged that Grace will be taking over, he looks a little wobbly. He looks very wobbly. And I noticed it before anyone else noticed it. I said, wait a minute, these pauses aren't natural. Lady Mae noticed it, and Grace noticed it almost around the same time. And then everyone else was looking, and we all realized, no, that's not right. So then he passes out. I mean, he's still conscious, but everyone rushes, and Charity calls the cops. And Bishop is just saying, you know, I had a vision. And this was the vision. I was surrounded by all of you. It was my last sermon. And he was like, he knew he was going to die. I said, you cannot kill. You cannot kill. This family is hanging on by a thread. You cannot kill. I was like, I was laughing because something's wrong with me. I was laughing because if you looked at his face, and I was in such disbelief. I was in such disbelief. I said, this could not be happening. This could not be happening. His eyes had that look good. I don't know why it reminded me of a dog. It was just open. It was kind of like, oh. So then, Lady May, and all you hear is Lady May saying, James, stay with us. You stay with us. Oh. Zora and Sophia, they have a nice little walk, and they make a pact. They make a pact that actually Zora's going to go to counseling and, you know, go to school, try to figure out why she even entertained that type of relationship. I said, that's great. That's great. Zora, she's going to go figure her, and Sophia's going to go and figure herself out, figure her life out. They're going to make a pact that they're, even if things aren't good, they'll still have each other. And I said, yes, yes. Now, everyone's at the house. Jacob, like I said, he's moving back like I knew he would be. So Lady May is thrilled. Her baby boy's back at home. But Lady May wants to talk to Grace. And Lady May, she says, you know what? She needs to apologize. And this isn't the proper saying because people are moving. You know, there's so much stuff going on right now. But when they have a moment, she will apologize. And she, you know, Grace is like, there's no need. She said, yes, there is. And I want to have, you know, seriously just talk to you. And there's no more beef and strife between us anymore. No more. And I'm sorry that there ever was. I said, oh, no, I can't do this. This is too much. This is too much. This is too much. Where's Bishop? Even Charity has Aaron and Kevin there, and they're all happy. It was just throwing me off. Aaron said, you know, it's now time to let everyone know. Grace said, not right now. Here goes Carissa trying to take over. The takeover spirit is back, and she's doing too much. And Lady May said, please, it's okay. It's okay, we got it. You don't need to do this. You don't need to do that. It's okay. But then Carissa also said, Zora, you need to let me know where you're going at all times. Remember? And she was like, yes. No. I don't care if you tell your father. You have to tell me. Your father doesn't run things. I run things. You got that? And she was like, yes, Mom, I'm sorry. And so I was just happy to see the family all together. And yes, I said the family because Bishop is still alive. Bishop is still alive. He's still alive. It's been, I think, 2 weeks. The doctor checked him out. He's okay. He'll take his aspirin, his medication. And the stress from everything was too much. Like, it was going to kill him. But thankfully, it didn't. And so now it's time for them to have dinner and pray. And Grace is the one who's told, why don't you do the honors? And Lady May said, Grace, do the honors. I said, look at the... Hindsight is 20/20, isn't it? So then Grace, she goes and prays, and she said, look, at the end of all of this, we will get our church back. And I said, oh, season 4, they're going in fighting, united, which is good because we still don't know what's going to happen to Basie. We still don't know where's Darius, what happened with him. There's just so many loose ends that we have no idea about. But there aren't, and the family is together. That's all that matters. And the truth is out. Almost all the truth is out. So now, at least lies won't harm them anymore. Whew. This was such a great season. Oh, this was one of the best seasons of a show I've seen in a long time. Oh, this is how you do a season 3. Whew. So stay tuned. I'll see you guys next year. For everyone else who watches my regular stuff, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.